This light is the way to Yah, the light that will never die. I know the Most High plan that some of the daughters of Zion will be fed as soon as we realize that some of us have the veil lifted off our eyes, being filled with His glory. And that is so that the whole world would know that the Most High will let His daughters suffer no. And that's the sure. Beautiful as a rose in a tree that looks like you and looks like me. Can't you see the glow that lets us know that we are free? We are the precious daughters of Zion. Praising Yah and going beyond. The scriptures that we read, doing research about the highest chosen seed, knowing one day that we will all be raised head to the kingdom that's to come. I'm talking to you, submissive, intelligent, beautiful daughters of Zion. Shalom. Precious daughter, precious daughter of Zion.
Lord, we want to thank you for this teaching. We want to pray that everyone has an open spirit and an open mind to receive the knowledge that you have given us to bring forth. And we pray that everybody takes away something from this teaching. In Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. We give all praise to the Most High, Ahaya, Yeshaya, and Wawak, the Holy Spirit, for this lesson. This afternoon's lesson is going to be on pregnancy and childbirth. So we're going to go through the stages of pregnancy, and we're going to see what happened during each stage. And then later we're going to talk about if it's okay to get an epidural. We're going to talk about a demon of pregnancy, and then we're going to see what the Bible says about pregnancy. So to get started, if you're pregnant, your body is experiencing major changes. Now, in early pregnancy, you experience aches and pains, and then there's morning sickness. And morning sickness isn't just for the morning. It happens throughout the day. You may have constipation or different food cravings. You have heartburn and indigestion. A lot of women have back pain, and that lower back pain is because the baby is growing inside the uterus. You can also get vaginal thrush, and that will cause a lot of irritation. Many women get hemorrhoids when they're pregnant. They also have the swelling of ankles, feet, and hands, or they have dizziness and fatigue. Another common symptom of pregnancy is shortness of breath. Shortness of breath, and then there's tender breath. So we're going to talk about the first trimester and what happens during the first trimester. The first trimester, you feel tired and nauseous. There's a lot of aches in your body. Because of the growing of the uterus, there's pressure being put on your bladder. So there's frequent urination. Some women experience mood swings. The second trimester. The second trimester is when you start to feel a little bit better. You start to have less fatigue, but there's still that morning sickness there. A lot of women have reported that their mind wanders. They're not focused at work or at home. And then they begin to gain weight. A lot of women feel anxious because during the second trimester, there's a lot more tests and blood being drawn. So a lot of women feel anxious about these test results. Your hair becomes thicker and your fingernails become stronger. Or your nails may become softer and they may break easily. This is where a lot of women have food cravings, such as sweet or spicy foods, or foods that are really fat. A lot of women lose the things that they would normally eat, they don't eat. So they may not have interest in the certain tastes or smells that they would normally have if they were pregnant or if they weren't pregnant.
Do you think that changed with each trimester as well? Because with the first trimester, you can crave like maybe sugary things, and then going into the second trimester, it can be like spicy or salty things. So you think it could change with trimester?
It could change with each trimester, or some women, it can be like that throughout the whole pregnancy. That's why if a woman is craving salty foods during pregnancy, the doctor, well, in my experience, the doctor saying if you're craving salty foods, then try and find something that's healthier to replace that craving, because a lot of salt isn't good during pregnancy. And then the third trimester, you may start feeling tired or uncomfortable. So if you're laying down, whatever position you're in, even the pregnancy pillow, you just can't get comfortable. You may feel annoyed by that discomfort because you're not able to rest. And then you start looking up videos about women's different labor experiences. So now you're starting to worry about labor as it nears. And again, the third trimester, you gain a little bit more weight because the baby is getting bigger. Also, your amniotic fluid, your placenta, your breast, your blood, and your uterus. A lot of this goes into the gaining of the weight. The baby may be putting pressure on your lungs, making it harder for you to breathe. And then you get the Braxton Hicks, which is the tightening of the muscles in the uterus. So you're having these contractions that some of them, they may not be hard, some may be. So you get false alarms whether you're going to go to the hospital or not. And the Braxton Hicks does not mean that labor is starting. You can be in your 23rd or 24th week and have Braxton Hicks.
You know, when I was having you all, I had never heard of that. I had never heard of it until I believe it was one of the ladies in the ministry that got pregnant years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started hearing of what they're called.
Braxton Hicks.
Yep, I've never heard of that.
It's just your body preparing for the labor to come. So it doesn't just hit you at once. Yeah? The mic is turned all the way up. So during pregnancy, women feel a lot of ups and downs with their emotions. That's the one thing that affects a woman and how her pregnancy will be. Surprise pregnancies. So if your pregnancy is unexpected, you may feel joy or you may feel fear. You're not sure about how this pregnancy is going to change your life. Some women feel anger and they talk bad about the pregnancy. When it comes to mental health with women in pregnancy, that's one thing. And if you go to the doctors, that's one thing they always push. They always have you fill out, are you happy? Are you laughing more or less?
Are you being abused at home?
Are you being abused?
Are you getting enough food to eat?
And it's not just with your pregnancy doctor. It's also with when you take that child to the pediatrician. They have you fill out the same thing.
Well, why do they have you to fill it out if you're going for
The children?
The children, yeah.
They have, each time I go there because they're for their checkup, they have me fill it out for each and every child too. Like one child is going to affect you differently than the other. Mood swings during pregnancy. we know that the hormones in the body are changing, which means you may have high emotions, and that could be both positive and negative. So while you may feel overjoyed about having a baby, you may be stressed and overwhelmed trying to find baby stuff, building a nursery if you're going to do that. Your baby will affect the relationship with your partner. So either they may get close to each other, or you and your partner may draw away from each other. Then you start to talk with your partner about coping financially. So how much is a baby going to cost? You have to pay for diapers. If you use formula, wipes. You may try and use cloth diapers.
Making up as you go.
You may have to, if you're a woman and you're working, you may have to juggle working and then being pregnant. And then after you give birth, are you going to go back to work and then stay home and raise your baby? Then when a lot of women have a worry if they're going to be a good mother or not, or if their baby will be healthy, or whether other children accept their baby. So you see, when a woman is pregnant, there's a lot of emotional things that she goes through, a lot of questions that she has.
A woman can be intimidated by her infant, her newborn. She can feel intimidated, like she don't have enough control over the child.
A lot of women start to hate their bodies once they get pregnant because things are gonna get bigger. Your stomach is gonna get bigger. That's a given.
Everything gets bigger.
They may be worried about putting on too much weight or worried about not putting on enough weight. If you go to the doctor and they say, for this pregnancy, I only want you to gain 10 pounds. That's it throughout the whole pregnancy. You can't. You may have a smaller baby. You may have a bigger baby. You may eat more. You may eat the same.
So that's
it's different.
For the doctor to even say that you only need to gain 10 pounds. Like, really? So you're going to spend your whole pregnancy trying to eat, not to gain weight, probably buy a scale that, I think someone here asked me to buy a scale. I was like, no way. We would never, ever have one of those up in here. That's a door opener for the devil to mess with you. So we would never buy a scale. I don't care if it was to weigh the rabbits. We still would not buy a scale.
Once the woman's body is changing, she worries about not being attractive to her husband. She may her sexual activity may go down because she doesn't feel confident with her body.
But you know what's strange about that? A lot of men say that their wives, when they're pregnant, become more attracted to them. So the woman is feeling bad about her body, but her husband is more attracted to her. That's strange. She just spread all over. He's going with the rabbit. It don't matter. The rabbits is big all over.
That would be like the point rabbit.
So when you add hormones to the fatigue, the forgetfulness, because a lot of women, when they're pregnant, they deal with forgetfulness.
Why do you think women that's pregnant deal with forgetfulness?
It's so when women are pregnant, if they start feeling stress and anxiety, that goes up. So that may cause them to start being forgetful with little simple things that they normally wouldn't be forgetful in.
So is that why when a woman has a baby? Now, I know some people have done this. They'll walk out the house with a diaper bag, but leave the baby at the door. They forget to get the baby, but they pick up the diaper bag.
It could be.
Stressed out.
Yeah.
Right?
So when you have the hormone added to the fatigue, forgetfulness, and moodiness, then a lot of women say they feel out of control, like Amma was saying. So with depression during pregnancy, about 15% of women will have depression and anxiety during pregnancy. And they will suffer even more from this after giving birth. That's where postpartum depression comes from. Many women don't seek any type of help, whether they talk to their mothers or grandmothers, anything like that, because they feel embarrassed or guilty that they are depressed after their baby is born. Now, if this postpartum depression goes untreated, then it sets in motion mental illness, and this mental illness will cause long-term effects.
Well, also with my experience, it starts fear and allergies because I remember when I had my first baby and he was crying because he had the colic and I didn't know what to do. Instead of my grandmother coming in there trying to talk to me and help me, she whipped me with some switches. I had just had a baby. And she beat me with some switches and told me I better make that baby shut up. I had never had any rashes or allergic reactions or anything. But right then and there, I got one because, I had a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting whooped. I'm getting beat on because I can't stop this child from crying. And instead of her handling it with love and showing me what to do, she beat me. So that's fear. You know what I mean? And I felt like I had no control. So I started, I had a fear spirit already, I'm for sure, when I was a little kid. But that's when the actual allergies, the hives, breaking out in hives, having a hard time breathing, that's when all that stuff happened. Because I was going through the postpartum. But think about it, I was a teenager. I was a young girl and I had a baby. And I didn't have anyone with the right type of wisdom to show me what to do. So that's when the fear was already there, but that's when it kicked up a notch from start having the allergies with the postpartum depression. Because it doesn't matter how old you are. You can have a baby at 14, 15. That you're still going to go through that. Some women even go on to commit suicide because it's too much, they can't handle it, and there's no one to tell them and to show them what's going on with them, what's going on with their bodies. So they just like, I'm out of here, I can't do this no more.
So
If that makes sense,
yeah, with that, the depression and feeling miserable starts to set in. A woman may feel annoyed or anxious. She herself may start crying a lot.
Yeah.
And then she loses interest in activities that she normally would like. She struggles to sleep, even when her baby is sleeping, or she's sleeping more than usual. She may have under or overeating, or feeling tired all the time, not able to concentrate. A lot of women feel that they are not bonding with their baby, or they have no maternal feelings at all. And then earlier we said the feeling guilty, or feeling like you're failing enough as a mother. Once all that happens, then you have where the woman starts thinking about harming herself or harming her baby. You see a lot of women where the baby's put in the oven, or they're harming their babies.
Brown
And then the woman starts thinking about suicide. And with all this going on, hospitals are now trying to use herbal treatments to help women. Instead of prescribing medication like they normally would do, they're using herbal treatments. Not marijuana. And then during pregnancy, a lot of women develop anxiety disorders. So that's the constant worrying, the stress, and being nervous. And then the muscle tension and clenching teeth, or not feeling calm or being able to sleep. A lot of women start to have panic attacks. A couple of mental illnesses that develop with pregnant women is bipolar disorder. So that's, when you're having the manic highs or, those really depressive Lowe's,
Yeah.
schizophrenia, eating disorders, and that includes anorexia and bulimia. And with all this going on, this can increase the, no, it can decrease the nutrition for your baby and increase the risk of miscarriage and anemia.
Yeah, any type of low blood, low iron will most definitely cause a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
we have to be mindful of that as well.
before we get to, because I'm going to cover epidurals or epidurals with childbirth. Before we get to that, in MRIs during pregnancy was frowned upon because the doctors and scientists, they believed that it would make the woman scared to get pregnant again, or it would cause them not to have that mothering, loving feeling towards their baby.
MRI, like in the mind, like here.
What's MRI?
It's like a brain scan, MRI.
Oh, okay.
And it showed, I have a picture here. So this is why MRIs are frowned upon with pregnant women. How it shows the baby.
Oh, wow. So wait a minute. I thought an MRI is for the woman or the baby. Oh, this is an MRI of the baby.
Yes.
Okay.
In the womb.
We were just talking about the brain. But now-
Yeah. The MRI shows like the soft tissues in the body.
that ain't right.
Magnetic resonance.
Another one. The doctors didn't want women to get MRIs because it would make them not.
It's scared, yeah.
It would scare them.
Oh, see, now.
Shamaria said the baby looked like, do you mind?
No, I couldn't do that.
Another one. This is close up.
So I can see why the doctor wouldn't want women to get MRI.
Yes.
Yeah, that is too. Yeah,
It's a little
that would be
creepy.
too. Because you're in your mind when you're pregnant, you already saying, "Oh Lord, I pray my baby have all his toes,
Yeah.
all his fingers, no extra toes. I pray they have all the body parts." And then you get an MRI and you see that, a person, a woman will freak out. Yeah, no. Look at that one over there on the end. No.
The eyes.
I was trying to pray through the I was touching my belly. Yeah, that's the first thing I would say. The devil is a lie.
So we're going to talk about the epidural and pregnancy, because that's one thing a lot of women ask when it comes to the Bible and if it's okay. Now, pain has been a part of childbirth ever since Eve gave birth to Cain. That it has always been. Now, we know that the pain in the childbirth was a curse that was put on women or on women. With that being said, with childbirth is not just the process of pushing the baby out. Childbirth is the whole process, the pregnancy. Well, that's the next. Yeah. I'll go back to the.
Yeah, because that. Thank you.
Okay. So, when it comes to childbirth, it's not just the Hebrew word pain is also translated into toil or labor. So it's not just the pushing out. It's the having the lower back pain because the baby's getting bigger. It's the whole experience overall. So let's get Genesis chapter 3. We're going to read verse 17 through 18.
Oh, you said chapter 3.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 17 through 18.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife,
and hast eaten of the tree of which I command thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Verse 18. Thorns and thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So now, when it comes to having an epidural, a lot of people argue that, oh, it's a sin to get an epidural and you shouldn't get it and everything. Now, with a woman, nowhere in the Bible does it say it's a sin for a woman to have an epidural. It's the woman's preference. Now, we know with the epidural, women have reported to have back pains.
Side effect.
Yeah, there's side effects to it. Now, so Adam was cursed to till the ground. We know today there are things that help farmers. You have tractors and plows. There's things that are used to help to farm, to till the ground.
Yeah.
Now with a woman, childbirth, if the epidural is to help the woman kind of ease the pain during childbirth, how is that different from using the machines to help with the ground?
Yeah.
So nowhere in the Bible does it say that
It's wrong.
it's wrong.
But
It's wrong for what?
for a woman to get an epidural,
Like it's a sin.
It's not gonna say it.
no, the Bible's not going to say epidural, but it's the side effects can, because when a woman gets an epidural, it also affects the baby as well. So the medication that goes into the woman, it goes into the child. But let's be honest, some women cannot take that pain.
Yeah.
The pain can be so great that a woman could die during childbirth because of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it's not just like natural birth either. You have a C-section, you have no choice but to get an
Yes.
epidural.
unfortunately, that's
Yeah, that's how it is right now.
But I was reading I forgot what it was, but it's something that's supposed to help naturally for pain. But it won't be, it may be for like naturally for childbirth, the regular, normal way. But
Vaginal
if you have any
childbirth.
surgery,
You have to have it.
yes, you have to have some type of pain medication.
Yeah, they put
gotta
the needle
numb
in
it.
the spine, they numb you all the way down. So that's just if there's any questions about if a woman can have an epidural or not. So now we're going to talk about it's a pregnancy demon. And this is with the Greeks and the Byzantine Empire. We know in the Bible and with the Hebrew custom, it was called Lalith. And this type of spirit is the same spirit, but it's for what the Greeks. The spirit is called Jello. And in Gello. It's Greek.
It could be Gail.
So in Greek mythology, it's a female demon who threatens the reproductive cycle and causes infertility, causes miscarriage, it causes SID, the sudden infant death, and it causes stillborns. And women, if back in the Byzantine era, if they were to have miscarriages, if they were to have stillborns, if the baby would just suddenly die, they were put on trial and they would be executed for that because it says that they have this demon in them. Or some women would be subjected to an exorcism. Now the word, the gello, or gel, however you want to pronounce it.
Gail. Just kidding, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Greek. So
With this spirit here, there are other names for it. There's Gailu, Gillo, or Gelu. And sometimes it's translated to Gol, which we know they're trying to say is ghost, but we know it's a demon. So, not yet. So even back then, there was some type of name for a demon that would threaten pregnancies, like Lilith. It's the same concept. Here in the picture, you have, and this is a female demon. It's always a woman. You have a tree. We know the tree represents family. At the bottom, she has her tail wrapped around it. And when I looked at other pictures of her, it's a rattlesnake tail. Yeah, this is the tail of it. So it wraps around the tree. And then the head, like the demonic spouse spirit, would stick its claws in the woman. Mostly in like her chest area, the nurturing side of where, what she's supposed to be.
Like with the demonic spouse stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the demonic spouse is around one of the legs,
Mm-hmm.
around the sexual organ, up the back and to the brainstem.
Yep.
This one is where? Around the bottom of the tree where the roots are.
Mm-hmm.
And it bites into the chest. So what is that saying? It's saying that the family is poison.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is poison in the family, and the woman won't have the characteristic as a mother, as a nurturer.
Yep. And it wraps around. Yeah, it wraps around the whole bottom of her, so the whole reproductive system, and then it comes up. So it's still the same concept.
It's still designed to destroy families.
Yep. This here is an amulet. And it has you can't really see because it's old. It was found 1,500 years ago. And on it is carved in this spirit. And this amulet was used to ward her off, so ward off the evil spirit. So that's more proof that they believed in this and they thought this was real. So pregnant women or women trying to get pregnant would wear this to try and keep her away. So now that we covered that, we're going to see a pregnant woman's defense against the schemes of the devil. We know when a woman is pregnant, it's always a chaos over if she's going to breastfeed, what are the right bottles to use, is she going to co-sleep, sleeping with the baby, or baby wearing? Are you going to wear a wrap when you take the baby out? Are you going to put it in a car seat?
Are they going to have a pacifier or not?
But that's on the mother.
It is.
If you have determined these things, like you all have pacifiers. I didn't know any better. But the babies that are being raised in the ministry now, they don't have pacifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Because we understand that, well, one of them had a pacifier early on, and it was hard to get that thing from her. And even the mother had to go through deliverance from giving the baby the pacifier, because that's a coping mechanism to get the baby to shut up, like the mother side. And then, like, really, is it healthy just sucking on a rubber thing? You know what I mean?
And a lot of mothers shame each other over their mothering techniques. Mm-hmm. Whether plastic or glass bottles are better, or it's a whole thing. We're going to get 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. So we got to know that the real battle isn't against other moms who have different mothering preferences. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8.
First Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Now it may seem simple or small, mothers bickering at each other, but so if you have this mother that she only feeds her children organic and doesn't let them watch cartoons or whatever. She's strict and everything. A woman that feels like she's failing as a mother will feel some type of way. She'll start feeling like her mothering techniques are wrong or she's not doing something right. The Most High has provided protection for the pregnant woman against the devil. So we're going to talk about the armor of the Most High as it relates to a pregnant woman. And yes, the armor of the Most High comes in maternity size.
Aww.
So you don't have to lose weight to fit it.
It comes in maternity size.
So when Paul says in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ or through Yeshua, which strengthens me, he wasn't just talking about, lifting weight, physical strength. He was also talking about having endurance, being able to withstand the devil. We're going to start with Ephesians chapter 3. We're going to read verse 16.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 16. That he would grant you, according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man.
So, as a pregnant woman, you have to know that, and not just being pregnant, when you give birth as well, you have to have a type of strength that will only come from Yeshua. No worldly type of strength is going to get you through that. You have to have this type of not being fearful all the time.
So is it like I remember seeing movies like when a woman gives birth, they may have a teddy bear or they have something as their focal point, while they're giving birth. So just as you have a teddy bear in the room, and while you're giving birth or pushing, you're staring at this thing, you're like it's giving you strength. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So people actually do that.
They do.
Yeah.
So instead of that, you're asking your child. Also, one thing that at the time of this delivery of the baby, you have to pray. You have to bind up those spirits because I'm telling you, it will be demons in that labor room trying to give you a hard time, whether they're messing with you or messing with the nurse or the doctor. So you have to pray, and you have to bind those spirits up and command them to leave. Ask Yeshua to put a hedge of protection up around you and your baby while you're giving birth, because we can't see into the spirit world, but most definitely we're not in that room alone. It's not just you, the nurse and the nurses and the doctor. You have angels in there. You have evil spirits in there. But if you have an angel that's sent there to protect you, well, I'm not going to say that. But what you need to do is bind up those spirits in the name of Yeshua. You have to bind those spirits up and ask the Most High to send protection, to put a hedge of protection up around you and your baby.
And a lot of women find it hard to be content when they're having the contractions and then the pain, because you have doctors and nurses running in and out of the room, freaking you out, saying the baby's heart rate is dropping or your blood pressure is high.
Even though they should be trained not to be doing all that.
Yeah, to keep you relaxed. And
everybody else is panicking. We need to be able to say, okay, I know I need to go into prayer. Because you can't start panicking like everybody else.
And the main thing that happens in the triage room, in the labor and delivery room, is a woman being overwhelmed. When a woman becomes overwhelmed, that's when the devil sneaks in, and that's when he starts putting panic on her and fear. She's not able to have an easy or relaxed delivery. And it's even with scheduled C-sections. I had a scheduled C-section. So I was in the triage room and I was just waiting to be taken to the delivery room. You had the doctor running in and out and the nurses. They actually had a student nurse with when I had Aliyah. So she was trying to take blood, but she couldn't do it. And she tried to blame me that I wasn't making a fist, so she couldn't draw blood. Then they blew a vein. If I wasn't, so if I wasn't, trained to know to stay relaxed, don't start yelling at the doctors or anything like that, it could have went a totally different way.
But you also need to be able to speak up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a nasty, negative way, but you need to be able to communicate. Because if somebody is sticking 2 or 3 times, they don't know what they're doing. And then they blow your vein, you have to deal with that, not them.
That's why I had to tell them that, okay, no, for her to stop, and the anesthesiologist is the one that had to put in an IV for me.
Okay. So, yeah, you have to also be able to speak up for yourself.
Yeah, because she was freaking out, and then it was.
I remember daughter Shamaria made the doctor mad because when she was giving birth, she had did all her research. And it's something that the doctors go by. I forgot whatever thing. And when the doctor came in there, he was trying to tell her stuff to scare her. Because, as Israelites, a lot of the medication and the methods that they use, we don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So certain things, because her blood pressure was high, I remember. And he was trying to put fear in her. She was like, she stayed calm. And she was like, no, whatever the doctor thing is says this, this, and this. And he didn't like that at all. Oh, that doctor was mad at her. Mm-hmm. But guess what we did? We prayed for him. Yeah. And in the end, he was so nice to her. He was laughing and talking to her. He was nice to her. He treated her nice. After the nastiness came, after he was nasty.
He wasn't in that. So he came in there. He was doing all that talking, but when she gave birth, he wasn't even in the room. He didn't come till after everything.
So we're going to get Ephesians chapter 6. We're going to read verse 11.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
So, women, even when you have that skirt, that there's a yard of elastic showing, because that's all you can fit at the moment, the armor of the Most High still fits you. So you're able to wear it. You're able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil as he tries to unsettle your faith, throw these different doctrines your way. He tries to deceive you. So we're going to start with the belt of truth. So the belt of truth, it makes you confident in knowing you have the protection of the Most High. You read the belt of truth? This? The scripture.
The verse.
And so one thing we want to say, because I see there was a poll put up there. I don't see if you all.
A poll?
Oh, something just went up here.
If you become pregnant, would you want to give birth in release like our ancestors?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
You don't see it on yours? Okay.
I see it.
Shamar said yes. Oh, you want to read her question?
Go ahead.
Shamaria says, oh, I just not seen it. Shamaria says, yes, it was the devil trying to use him. I remember the whole room got dark when he came in. Crazy.
It did. Y'all remember that the room did get, it was like, what? And it was like early in the day. And the room got so dark when he came in. I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow. That was something. But in the end, the light of the shining show.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
So the belt of truth, it encircles you with the confident protection of knowing that the Most High is going to protect you, that He's going to see you through. You just have to have that faith in Him. You have to take the pains that you are having and that you have to be in prayer. And if there's women around you, you have to draw that strength from them. It's really hard for a woman to go through labor and delivery all by herself. She needs some type of support system, some type of help. That's why a lot of women have, are they doulas?
Yeah.
They teach them how to breathe, to keep them relaxed. And they work with this woman throughout the pregnancy. So they're already having some type of bond. And that's if you don't have like a mother or sister or someone there to help you through.
So there was a poll put on the chat if the women would like to answer and give their reasoning. It says, if you become pregnant, would you want to give birth on the knees as our ancestors did? So the women, if you would like to answer yes or no in your reasoning on the chat.
Okay. So the breastplate of righteousness. One size fits all. This righteousness is not your own righteousness. This is the righteousness of Yeshua. The devil was used everything from insecurity to other people about your pregnancy and your prenatal care and your birth plan as a mother. When you go to the hospital, you can actually print out and have a birth plan that the nurses have to follow.
I have never heard of that until y'all started having babies.
So if you tell them not to come in the room unless it's absolutely necessary, they have to
honor that.
And
even if it's 7 pages long, ain't that right, Shamari? They gotta read it all.
Did she make them sign it?
I don't know if she made them sign it or not. But I know they made copies and they put it in the database.
So even if they try and deviate from your birth plan, or even with the prenatal care, they use these different words and phrases. Like, how is it if you don't get a flu shot, your baby's gonna get schizophrenia?
Right?
Yeah.
That
It was somebody in the ministry, they told that.
mm-hmm.
If they didn't get their flu shot, or what's the other one, pneumonia shot, the baby would have schizophrenia
and Down syndrome.
And was it Down syndrome? Oh, the baby was going to get it if she did get that shot.
Right. Shamaria answered the poll on the chat. She said, yes, less strain than laying down.
And that's how a woman is supposed to give birth anyway.
Right.
But I remember that the women, when you all were in labor, that you all were like squatting down or on your hands. Because when you're in labor, you're laying back.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember a lot of the women was bringing what is that ball?
The medicine ball?
Yeah, medicine ball or a peanut.
And they were sitting on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So when you would have a contraction, you would bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that would have been so cool if I would have had one.
And if you think about it, if I was to answer this question, I would say yes, simply because of gravity.
Yeah.
Fall right out.
So yes, a woman was cursed with having that pain during childbirth and stuff. But the Most High still made it where, because of the gravity, it helps with pushing the baby down.
You should have some pictures up there. They actually have birthing chairs.
We'll have that for next week because we actually have the childbirth and everything.
Yeah, they have some birthing chairs. But you sit in the chair to give birth with the bottom out.
Uh-huh.
You're going to record.
No, we're not going to record Malcolm. So you have to guard yourself against the temptation to give into these fears and anxieties of of what these doctors and people are trying to put on you. Because you may have family members that are saying, oh, you better do that so your baby don't come out, with any type of diseases. You have to stand firm because you as the mother is going to be that main protection against, or main protection for that baby. Because it's based on if you're going to accept those different vaccines or whatever.
Well, the thing about it, I know in the state of New York, the vaccinations are not required,
Mm-hmm.
but the
Vitamin K?
the vitamin K is.
It's
Mhm.
mandatory.
It's mandatory.
You have no choice.
And if
But I tell you, after every time a baby is born, I go right in
mm-hmm.
and start praying that vitamin K out of them. And what they do, I don't know what they be looking for. They say sugar, but it's a
Mhm.
lie. They prick that baby foot once a day.
They did that
Every
with.
day.
They did
until
it
you
in the
leave
morning and
hospital.
in the night.
They don't normally do it. They did that with me because I refused the glucose test.
Yeah.
But you have no history.
Exactly, and I told them that.
Blood sugar.
Yeah. But if you try and refuse the vitamin K shot, my doctor has said how they shut down the hospital and had CPS and the police, and they took that couple's newborn baby.
Because it's mandatory in New York, you have no choice.
Now,
There's
point
no
is,
way to
they
get
would've
around
known
it.
your shot, they wouldn't have to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember with Orion,
Yep.
Melka was out of it. When I came in there, she was like, they gave her the shot. And I was like, okay. And I went right over there.
I just woke up.
Yeah, I went right over there and prayed
asking
that
for
mess
that.
right back out of there.
Out of everything, I was asking
Yeah.
for the shot.
And we prayed it down to him as well. Look how big and strong he is.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it was meant to do,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't work.
Right. Amakwa says during labor, it's best to go the natural way. Our bodies was designed to give birth that way because it's easier for the body to make its own way down the passage.
And that's what we did. I think Malcolm labored for how many days?
3 days. It was from Friday night to Saturday, or Friday night to Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But
3 in the
after
morning.
that, and that was no change. So we had to go with, because I'm gonna tell you, the doctor, she was coming in there crying.
Why are you crying?
He's in distress.
This Michael was never ever in distress. He was perfectly healthy. He was never in distress. He was trying to help his mommy, if anything, because he was doing a lot of work when she was in labor. But in the end, yes, we prayed and we made the decision to have a cesarean.
Because at that point,
you labor for 5 days and
3.
3 days. Oh Lord, I ain't speaking that. I'm speaking that. But I'm just saying, yeah, the natural way is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But after like so many days,
That's like those choices should be made like once you like absolutely can't take no more when there's no other choice.
but we have remember all the women that was a part of the ministry before they gave birth, well, while they were in labor, they went through deliverance as well.
Mm-hmm.
They did. Every
last one of it was like 3 of you all, wasn't it? 3.
4.
It was 3.
3.
Went through deliverance first. We prayed, Shepherd and I prayed deliverance. Well, I prayed deliverance to help make the childbirthing easier as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will have spirits in there that's trying to bind the womb to keep it from opening the way Yeshua naturally created to open.
Yeah. What's next?
We're going to read Ephesians chapter 6, we're going to read verse 15.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 15. And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
Like we were saying, when a woman you're pregnant, you're feeling fatigued, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Your feet are swelling, you're feeling exhausted. And then you have people and doctors that are putting fear and anxiety on you. You need to have the peace of Yeshua.
Got it.
That's just one thing that you need to have. If you don't have peace, a lot of women, you have to have peace with the decisions you make
Yeah.
while being pregnant and while you're in like the delivery room. If you decide that, I can't take the pain, I need the epidural, it doesn't make you any less of a woman or any less of a mother.
No, it does not.
It was a couple years ago, it was where women that have given natural birth was talking bad about women that had C-sections, saying they were less of a woman because they didn't push the baby out and everything.
That's ignorant.
It's it goes on within the pregnant mothers community.
Because what if that woman, at some point, we had to pray and make a decision for you to have a C-section. Because if not, if it went on because of the pain and the laboring, I mean, people can die. Not just the mother or the child, both can.
Mhm.
So at what point, if you just being ignorant and saying, nope.
And
If you don't have this, if I don't have this baby natural, I'm gonna die trying. Like that's just dumb.
and it was 3 days that I was in labor, but once they put that, the needle in your back to numb you, I have never felt any type of relief like that, because all the contractions stopped. I wasn't in pain anymore. It was relief. So I made peace with that decision that it's fine because I'm still a mother. You're not any less of a mother if you have a C-section or if you have the epidural.
Right. And I had a coworker at work was telling me about her daughter, and she was like, her daughter ended up getting an epidural because she couldn't handle the pain no more. But the mother was like, I don't know why she did that. She shouldn't have did that. I had 4 without an epidural. She knows she could have done it. I know she could have done it. But in that moment, it's like you're not that person experiencing that for the first time. Amakawa said I had epidurals.
Yeah, I had 4.
And
No, I had 2. 2 hours sleep.
I think
it's
they
still
give it to you
you still
regardless.
get it when you're asleep.
You still
Well, at
get
least
it.
with me they did that.
No,
Oh, well, if they put you under for surgery.
no. I
don't
had
work.
an epidural
They
with
did
you,
that.
with you too. With your brothers, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
But see, with them, I had labor.
Mhm.
So I was so
Exhausted.
exhausted from all the days of labor. You all was scheduled.
Mhm.
But with your brothers, they put me to sleep. Well, the second one, I act like so
They just knocked out.
Yeah, broke the bed.
I did. I think I even broke one of the
Railings?
That's some super strength.
Yeah.
Shamaria
There's
says
some supernatural stuff going on there.
it's the same with
Supernatural?
breastfeeding versus
Bottle.
formula. So
Yeah.
breastfeeding versus formula. And I don't understand why women fight over that, because I mean the baby is fed either way. Yes, breast is best, but that baby is still eating. Breast is best, but that baby's still eating at the end of the day. They're not starving. You don't
But
have a-
some women don't produce enough milk, but the baby won't latch.
So
Exactly.
This lady had been breastfeeding her baby, putting her baby on the breast, and this was her first child. And come to find out, the baby died within a month. Guess what? She was breastfeeding, but the baby was not getting enough milk because there's no way to measure how much the baby is eating.
Yeah.
And the baby starved to death.
Right. And even if a person is like all for breastfeeding, they can at least pump into a bottle so they know how much the baby is getting, just to be on the safe side.
So anyone on the chat that's breastfeeding, how do you determine if your baby is getting enough food? Enough milk.
Amakwa says it eased the pain, enjoy the birthing process.
So you really don't have no way of knowing when you breastfeed. And she lost her newborn baby.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't her mother tell her to give the baby some formula? She's hungry. Or was that a different case?
No, this was a lady. Her baby was always on the breast.
Oh.
But what happened was she did not know that she was not producing. Her body was not producing producing enough
Oh,
milk for
okay.
the baby. So the baby could be latched onto the breast, but if there's no milk being produced,
Mhm.
that's what happens.
So there's nothing wrong with using formula. Do your research on what formula is best for you and your baby.
Mhm.
Just do your research.
Because some formula causes the baby to have a lot of gas too.
Yeah.
But also, like from what y'all said, it's okay to pump
Mhm.
because pumping the milk out also builds the breast up
Yeah,
to
it
produce
does.
to lactate more.
And the pumps have where it has like a stimulator to stimulate it,
Yeah.
and it has a pumping so you can pump the milk out. Okay.
But also, we have to know that there are certain, I don't know if you have it, but it's certain foods that will help you
Increase
the
Mhm.
lactation.
production.
I know
Yeah.
the main thing is to stay hydrated with milk production.
Yeah.
We know that from the rabbits.
Okay.
Amakwa says your hormones are in chaos. Some others need help after, so breastfeeding is not always the answer, and that's true.
Some women overproduce and it hurts them. They're in tears because they're producing so much.
Yeah.
So
Shamari says coconut water helps.
Oh,
yeah.
Drink that coconut water.
I bought Shepherd some coconut water. He took a sip and been in there for almost 3 weeks. I just had to throw it away. I said, Mari, I think you're the only person in the world that like coconut
In the world.
So we're going to read Ephesians chapter 6, verse 16.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 16. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
So whatever is going on, whatever anxiety or fear that you're feeling, you must have faith in your child. Even if it's as small as a mustard seed.
Get it?
You have the HC. One thing that early in pregnancy, doctors will watch the HCG level of a woman. So if it's not increasing as fast as you're told it's supposed to increase, a lot of women start to freak out that, oh, they're going to lose their baby or their levels aren't doubling every day or, The important thing is to try and be aware of your emotions during your pregnancy and your childbirth. Be excited that your baby is coming. Prepare. Go to the different stores, or some people need to stay off Amazon. Or whatever. Surround yourself with godly women. Women that have had babies, that are, that can help you through your experience. Positive women.
Because some people be like, girl, that hurt. I don't even know why you're pregnant. Why you don't want to deal with nobody like that.
Don't surround yourself with negative people.
Yeah.
The back pain that you're having, the aches, the different fluids coming out of you, it's all normal and it's a part of pregnancy.
So basically, enjoy your pregnancy. Don't start complaining. If when you're pregnant, you're gonna have swollen feet.
Mm-hmm.
Things are gonna get
Get you some
bigger.
slippers.
Things are going.
You
You know what I'm saying? Find you some big shoes that you can just slide your feet in.
Get you some big blue shoes.
Enjoy your pregnancy. Don't worry about complain about it.
Yeah.
Do some fun things. If it's in the summertime, wear some fun colors. Yellow, pink.
We're yellow. Leave me alone.
Just try to have fun. Take care of yourself. Get you some natural products, things that are natural. Take care of your skin and your hair, and file your long nails, and just be good to yourself.
And make sure you rub shea butter on your stomach for stretch marks.
Different oils.
Natural,
Yeah.
straight from the tree.
Chop it down. Amakua says Yeshaya is always the answer. It's a beautiful thing, and we should enjoy this time having a baby. Shamaria says, and don't pay any mind to Nurse Karen. Yeshaya will get the victory.
Them nurses and doctors, they kind of got on my nerves when we were in Arizona. on because they were coming in the room
Mhm.
crying.
Yes.
If something happened, you don't want a blood transfusion to save your life. But
Yeah.
Yeshua said if a man try to save his
He
life,
is the way, the
you
truth,
will
and the life.
lose his life. And if you lose your life, you get what? You gain your life, eternal life with him. So no, we're not praying to trying to have a blood transfusion and all that crazy. That's why I'm saying a lot of Israelite women, we run into issues with the hospital because things that are natural to them, we know it's not natural, and there's a penalty, there's a cost for it if we do it spiritually. So a lot of things we can't do what other people do.
Mm-hmm. And with Elia, the same doctor that delivered Elia is the one that's going to deliver this one. So I was actually blessed enough to have a doctor that's not going to push me to do the glucose test, to do any vaccine. That doctor actually said with their children, they didn't do anything. The only thing they did was a vitamin K shot.
Because it
So
was mandated.
I don't have nurses running in, crying almost every appointment, and I don't have all that craziness going on.
Try to get you to tell you things that are going on with your baby, but you know. And that's what I'm saying. They tried it. The devil tried it through these nurses. They try to have you to go to a specialist because, oh, the hair too small, or this or that. And we're like, wait a minute, these children was prophesied. So we know that before these children was knitted in the mother's womb, Yeshua already had control, the creator of the baby. So if he prophesied these children, we know that these children are going to be fine. So we don't have to worry about, oh, the head too small. That's showing unbelief, doubt and unbelief. And we don't operate like that.
So we're going to read Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
So in the weakness of your back pain, feeling burnable or feeling nauseous, you have to have that hope and salvation in Yeshua. You have to rely on Scripture as your offensive weapon. Don't just...
So if you're in labor and the pain's hitting you, should you say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper? No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
So,
Lord, Yeshua, no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
So don't just believe the lies of the devil, but speak the Most High's truth. So yeah, if you need to quote scripture, have music playing, or now they have the essential oils.
One of the women who was in the ministry when she had her baby, she was screaming, Yeshua, Yeshua, help me. And the nurse looked at her like she was crazy.
So it's okay to, while you're in labor, it's okay to laugh and try and relax and stuff. It's okay. You don't have to be serious and screaming, and just try and calm yourself down.
And screaming is the worst thing you can do because it'll bring the baby back up, won't it?
So what's the sound? The high pitch? That's what?
The high pitched scream will bring the baby back up because you're tightening your stomach muscle.
What's the deep one?
Go ahead, show.
Don't do that. Don't do that. So don't dwell on the bloated appearance or the spider veins, but talk to yourself about the beauty of Yeshua, about Yeshua's love. You have to try and stay positive and not stressed through a pregnancy and a childbirth. So we're going to end with Ephesians chapter 6, verse 18.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 18. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
So the power of a pregnant woman is to have that relationship with your child, to surround yourself with godly women that will help you through pregnancy and with your delivery. And we're saying we know that the husband is there, but we're saying women because the woman is the one that you can relate more with a woman with childbirth. So you can still lean on your husband and for help and don't punch him when you're in labor having a contraction.
Don't punch him in the chest.
But you can
Don't
relax.
beat him up.
You mad.
He gonna put on a breastplate.
You gonna get ready for that fight.
It's not a real fight. Okay. So next week's lesson is going to be on the different illnesses that plague a pregnant woman and what happens. No, the illnesses during childbirth because the baby can come out with a sickness. We're going to talk about the different natural ways to help with labor in the different positions. And then the week after that is going to be, we're not going to have a demonstration. The week after that will be how to be a mother at the different stages of a child's life.
All right.
So, in conclusion, we're going to have our woman of the Bible. We're going to be in 1 Chronicles, chapter 4, verse 9 through 10.
What are we talking about?
The mother of Jabez.
First Chronicles.
Jabez. Jabez.
Now y'all just guessing at this point.
Jabez?
Okay, what is it? Jabez.
1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 9 through 10. Jabez. The mother of Jabez.
First, First Chronicles chapter 4, verse 9. And Jabez was more honorable than his brethren, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bear him with sorrow. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, oh, that thou wouldest bless me indeed, and enlarge my coast, and that thy hand might be with me, and that thou wouldest keep me from evil, that it may not grieve me. And God granted him that which he requested.
So then, though an entire book was written about his prayer, we know little about Jabez. The Bible only mentions him in 2 obscure verses buried in a lengthy genealogy. We know even less about his mother, not even her name. We do know his birth is difficult, and the name she gives him reflects the physical pain his arrival caused her. This is all we know about her. However, we can infer more of her traits from the character of her son. Jabez is an honorable man, more honorable than others. We also know he has a deep connection with the Most High. For when Jabez prays a bold prayer, the Most High answers it. We can implicitly connect those qualities with his mother, the mother who raised him. Surely Jabez's mother is a godly woman who teaches her son how to live an honorable life and follow the Most High, and to pray with effectiveness. What more can a mother give to her son? And the ending question is, what can we do to raise godly, honorable, faithful children? Are there any questions here or on the chat?
You know, what's her name? Leah and what's her name? Rachel, when she gave birth to, who she had a difficult birth with, and she died. She died.
Baby.
No, she was going to name him something, and it meant sorrowful, but Jacob changed his name. I'm thinking it was Benjamin.
Yeah, he changed.
But it meant sorrow, so, but she died as well. So that showed a difficult childbirth as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all think Mother Sarah had a hard childbirth? She gave birth at 90-some years old. I think that could have been difficult for her.
Probably normal childbirth. I mean,
Shit,
the
shit,
90, the
well,
90
age,
back, 90 back then is probably like
20,
30 today or something. I don't know.
probably like 25.
Yeah, so it's probably different because they're healthier.
Yeah. Well, it could have been. I was just
Yeah.
wondering, you know. But yeah, that was my question or my comment I had.
Okay. So if there are no more questions here or on the chat, join us at 2 p.m. for our main Shabbat lesson. And if you haven't,
Featuring Shepherd Tawab
featuring Shepherd Tawab
with his lovely wife.
with with his lovely wife,
Your mother.
Your mother, our
our
mother.
Wait, what?
the mother,
Good job.
Amma.
Whatever.
If you have liked this teaching and have found it educational, please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit the bell to get all notifications when we go live.
Ain't nothing like a good helpmate. You has found a good woman, has found a good thing. She will always praise the Most High, praise the Most High always. And she'll love the Most High, love the Most High always, always. She will praise the Most High, praise the Most High always. And she'll love the Most High, love the Most High always, always. My lady, she's always by my side. Through the ups and downs, we always praising the Most High. When we was living on the streets, she never once complained. She just raised her hands and praised Him. This is the definition of a righteous, virtuous woman. Who can praise the Most High when the times are up and when the times are down? Cause I need somebody who will stand by me through the good times and bad times. She will always praise the Most High, praise the Most High always. And she'll love the Most High, love the Most High always, always. She will praise the Most High, praise the Most High always. And she'll love the Most High, love the Most High always, always.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.